Yo, what it do, my niggas? I'm your boy Roy, back at it again with another episode of the Preaching to the Birds podcast, where I like to bring you latest and breaking Eagles news as it comes to you and do what it do from the whip, because that's just how I do this shit. But now that has been established, let us talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, my favorite franchise, my storied franchise, you feel me? So we got to talk about this Kellen Moore shit. And before you like and subscribe to the podcast, I got to tell y'all, I don't like the move. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I really don't. But this may be a blessing in disguise because it may get Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni up out of here. But now that's been said, I'm going to explain to you why I believe this Kellen Moore thing is a bad idea. And it just shows me that Nick Sirianni probably doesn't know good football. I'm going to say probably because there is a possibility that this all works out. Vic Fangio, comes in because he's an experienced coach and gets the defense right. And we got a lot of picks this year. For sure. We got 2 second-round picks. And I think we got 9 picks within the first 177 picks or something like that. Well, there's a good possibility we get the defense right and the offense can score some points. Albeit, it might be garbage points. But here's the deal, right? Here's the real deal, Vander Holyfield. Here's the hard-hitting takes, which is why I think this Kellen Moore signing is a terrible decision. Justin Herbert had his worst season ever. His worst season ever in the NFL with Kellen Moore as his coach. Justin Herbert had thrown 4,000 yards every season except this last season. And we're going to break the numbers down. Right now. But I want to talk about Dak Prescott first. Got to talk about Dak Prescott first. Because originally I used to think that Dak Prescott was going to have a bad year without Kellen Moore being his offensive coordinator. I really did. I thought because he had that success with Dak Prescott and the wide receiver room wasn't as good, that Dak Prescott was going to have a regression year with Mike McCarthy, and I have to admit that I was wrong. Dak Prescott statistically had his best season last year with less help, without Kellen Moore. Oh, you don't believe me? Don't worry, I'll put the stats up for you. But as you can clearly see, Dak Prescott threw for a little bit more yards than at his peak with Kellen Moore. And on top of that, he threw for less interceptions. Mind you, Dak Prescott in his best year with Kellen Moore had Amari Cooper. He had CeeDee Lamb. He had Wilson. He had 4 good receivers and 2 running backs, mind you. And he still had that great defense. So with that being said, I believed wholeheartedly at that moment in time that Dak Prescott was going to have a regression year. He did not. He did better statistically speaking in the regular season than he ever did with Kellen Moore, period, with less help. So that shows me that Kellen Moore was the problem. Oh, you don't believe me? All right, let's look at Justin Herbert's stats now, right? So Justin Herbert in 2020 went for 66.6 completion percentage, 4,336 yards, 31 tubs, and 10 interceptions. 2021, 65.9 completion percentage, 5,000 yards, something Jalen Hurts has never even sniffed close to, 38 tubs, and 10 interceptions. In 2022, Justin Herbert had a 68.2% completion percentage, 4,737 yards, 25 tubs, and 10 interceptions. Mind you, Jalen Hurts has only thrown for 4,000 yards once in his career. And in 2023, Justin Herbert had his worst statistical year ever in his career. 65.1 completion percentage, 3,000 yards, and 20 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. And he got knocked out. They didn't even play him the last couple games of the season because he got hurt. Because the running game with Kellen Moore was buns. Was absolute buns with the Chargers. And people will tell you, people will lie to you and lie to your face and say that the Chargers didn't have an okay offensive line. Yeah, they didn't have as good of an offensive line as the Eagles do. We all know that. We put a ton of investment into the O-line, but don't sleep on the Chargers O-line, man. Don't sleep on the Chargers O-line, man. They had some players over there. They had Zion Johnson, highly rated second-round pick. They had Jamari Slayer or Salyer, whatever. He came from Georgia. He was very highly underrated. He was a 6th-round pick, but he's a dog. Don't get it twisted. He's a dog. He shouldn't have been drafted where he was drafted. I think there may have been some injury concerns or concerns about his weight, but the dude moves people, and he was a dog at Georgia. He was an absolute dog. Don't get that twisted. And then they had their left tackle who got hurt. I'm blanking on his name, but the dude is undersized but great, right? Undersized but great. I might show his picture later just to help y'all out. But that dude was great too, so don't get it twisted. The Chargers had a better O-line than people are giving him credit for, but Austin Eckler's numbers were horrific. And I'm going to go through the numbers with you guys. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I got it for you, right? So look, 2021, because we're going to go to 2021 because that's when Austin Eckler really started being the franchise running back, the dude that got most of the bulk of the carries, most of the bulk of the receiving yards. And if you don't believe me, he was killing shit off in fantasy football. He was the number 1 pick in a lot of drafts these last couple of years until Kellen Moore. Matter of fact, if you had Austin Eckler last year, you probably lost your fantasy football team because you bet on him to do well. But Kellen Moore fucked you in the ass with no lube. But let's go over the numbers, right? So in 2021, Austin Eckler had 206 attempts rushing wise for 911 yards with a 4.4 average, 12 tubs, and 70 receptions, right? Now look, Austin Eckler is a smaller running back, so he doesn't get that many carries. Like, he only got up to about 206 tops, and he only got to like 915. But when you see the end result of what he had at the very bottom, you'll understand why Kellen Moore is buns when it comes to the run game. So look, in 2020, let's get back to this. So in 2022, Austin Eckler had 204 rushing attempts for 915 yards and a 4.5 average with 13 tubs and 107 receptions. 107 receptions. The year before Kellen Moore got there, he had 107 receptions. He was killing people alive. Receiving that rock. And he had a good average. 4.5 is a good average in the NFL, period. But in 2023, Austin Eckler had his worst statistical season, period. Most of the running backs there did, to be honest, including Isaiah Spiller, who I thought was a really good running back coming out. So look, He had 179 attempts for 628 measly yards with a 3.5 average and 5 tubs. He only had 51 receptions, which was at least 20 less than his averages. At least 20 less receptions, which is crazy. Austin Ekeler was one of the greatest receiving running backs we had ever seen. Ever. He was literally carrying people's fantasy teams on their back. On his broad shoulder back. And Kellen Moore came in there with a shitty scheme, with a shitty run scheme, and could not get the run game established. No matter what running back he threw out there with Austin Ekeler, it was not a go for whatever reason. And people are going to say the offensive line wasn't there. I already told you it was. They had 3 dudes over there that should have been able to do work. But Kellen Moore couldn't figure it out. And I got to say that now that I've seen Kellen Moore almost ruin Justin Herbert, do I want that on my team? I really don't. But look, folks, this might be a blessing in disguise in the sense of Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni are tied together like this. They're going to make me hit my Gojo pose for the anime lovers out here. And Jujutsu Kaisen. If this blows up, hopefully it blows them 2 up. And we can finally get some people that know football out there. Maybe we can finally get a new GM that knows football and can bring in some goddamn linebackers, man. Because I'm sick and tired of not having linebackers, safeties on our team, and that position both those positions just being neglected. Because I see the Lions out there with a 3 safety set about to be in the NFC Championship game. That should have been us. I see the Ravens out there with the 2 linebackers, dogs. That should have been us. But Howie Roseman wants to consistently disrespect that position, those positions, and that is why we are in this position we are in today, in my opinion. But let me know how you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Personally, I don't like the move. I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think these option routes is going to lead to Jalen Hurts throwing more interceptions than what he already has been. I hope that we can at the very least, get Jalen Hurts to get the ball out of his hand quickly. But did I see that the last year with Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore? No, I didn't. So with that being said, I don't like this at all. But how do you guys feel about it? Let me know. Peace.